Hello, uh, everybody. Welcome to episode 9. That's
Dang.
this many plus this many. That's 9 episodes of Get the Flick Out of Here. We told you we were going to do this.
Yeah, we did.
We
We
told you
planned.
we planned it. We
We
planned it
planned a
out.
whole
We
week.
we we said we teased it. I don't even know what brought this up in the original conversation, but I started mentioning animal face off.
I think you mentioned it during our BattleBots episode.
I think yes, that's what I did. And so yes, so we've been planning this now for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Anyway, hey, I'm Alex Pawlowski. This is Kate Elizabeth, and we host the show talking about weird, funny, dumb, crazy TV and movies. I think this qualifies as all of them. But the best part about it is that what we're talking about is the show Animal Face Off, which aired on Animal Planet like full on 17 years ago. So
I was unaware of the show's existence.
yeah. I originally watched all of these episodes for the first time on one Saturday in college. It was the original binge watching before you could stream anything. It was flipping through the channels. You got nothing to do. Maybe you're stoned. I don't know. And you come across a marathon on Animal Planet of something called Animal Face Off. And you watch the first one and you go, wow, that was really bad and really fun. There's another one on, and you do that for like 6 straight hours because you have nothing better to do. And that was how we used to binge watch things back in the day, kids. Nothing was on demand. That was on television, and that was the best thing you had. I believe I watched I Love the 80s on VH1 in that exact same manner. I never watched anything like by appointment television at like 9 p.m. on a Tuesday. But everything on cable would always be run in a block of like 12 episodes on a random Saturday. And I was just lazy and procrastinating, not doing whatever the hell I had to do for school. And so I would just sit there and watch crap instead of doing homework. So that's how I was introduced to this.
I did not know the show existed. I was completely unfamiliar. I was delighted by the noticeable lag in CGI technology. It's really fun to see CGI in its infancy because during the time it was incredible technology. Like those visuals were amazing, I feel like at the time.
No, because you got to understand that like they were on a shoestring budget because they had to be, because this is like 2004 and like Jurassic Park came out in 1993 and like
oh, okay, yeah, that's
you know
fair.
what I mean.
That's
like
fair.
This shit looks like it was rendered in MS Paint. Like it is some bad stuff. This is like somebody said, "Hey, we want to have these animals fight each other in CGI," and a producer said, "Well, my son likes to get involved with the computers. Maybe we'll save some money by having my kid do it." And the kid was really, really bad at it, and nobody could tell the producer, "Hey, your son really sucks at this." And they ordered all these episodes. And they just said, fuck it, put them on the air. Because some of these CGI things are so bad. I mean, in hindsight, they're terrible because of what we know the capabilities of such things are now. But at the time, I am telling you, watching it in 2004, we knew this shit was awful.
When did the movie Pearl Harbor come out? Do you remember?
I'm gonna say around the same time, but I don't know.
Okay, because I feel like that movie was heavily CGI'd.
Of course.
And I thought that it looked really good at the time. but now I feel
Yeah,
like it looks
no.
really bad.
Yeah.
This is different.
No. Yeah, no. Nobody thought it was good at the time. I'm sorry. And if whatever. So here's the deal. What this is.
It should be noted that I'm significantly younger than you, so it's harder for me to remember that. Like, I'm so much younger.
You are.
Like, it's so much.
Right. No, there's at least 4 or 5 generations that separate us. It's true. It's true. Yeah, I am practically a Gen Xer.
Find yourself a co-host that plays along with you that hard.
I'm practically a Gen Xer, and you are a Zoomer by far and away.
Like a little baby Z.
Yeah. So what this is people like, if you actually, I was describing this on a podcast that I host last night, and somebody in the chat was like, "Oh, so it's like Deadliest Warrior but for animals," and I was like, "That's exactly what it is." That's exactly what it is, because there was a show, I think, on Spike TV called Deadliest Warrior. And
and it would be like a ninja versus a samurai or whatever. Yeah.
Right after, like, they'd have like from different areas of the world, from different time periods. What would happen if like an Aztec warrior fought a Viking? And I was like, that's badass. I want to see all of that. And so that was kind of cool. And there was like, somebody was like, well, what if we did that? But instead of actually hiring actors, trained fighters, and giving them weapons and time to train and a choreographer and putting together a fight scene, what if instead of that, we got Phil's kid who sucks at computers to animate a shark and a crocodile fighting each other underwater?
In hindsight, we could have done that, the Warrior show, where there's probably accessible episodes.
There might be, because this is the other thing, is that you can't find full episodes of this anywhere, and so I'm trying to like remember.
Nobody wants to be educated. We just want to see the fight.
Right. You can find every episode of that season, the season that I binged. You can find the fight portion of it on YouTube, on Animal Planet's YouTube channel. Every one of these little clips has 5 million views.
And 4 million of them are stoned Alex.
No, we didn't have YouTube. We didn't have YouTube back in my day.
Oh God, that's right. You're so
old. I am 78 years old.
And I am 14. That's way up past my bedtime.
Yeah. So anyway, they would do, under the guise of science, they would have the people, like an expert in whatever animal, showing you what the pounds of pressure per square inch that the jaws of this animal can generate, and let's see what that looks like. And so they like put hydraulics in like a metal gorilla skull, and then put a beer can in there, and he crushes it, and like, oh wow, that would really hurt if he bit you. And they do that for like 25 minutes. And then they, for the last 5 minutes, just like, let's see what would happen. But also I remember an episode, the elephant episode, where they like put an elephant skull with the tusks and everything on top of like a bulldozer and ran over a car with it. As though that was like, this is what would happen if an elephant did it. No, that's a bulldozer with an elephant skull on top, which, by the way, creepy. Did you get that in the ivory trade? What's going on there? Big great white hunter. But all of this is like, it all was like, let's get through these 5 segments and 4 commercial breaks before we get to the money shot, which is you get to watch these animals fight each other. And they were trying to be like, well, we don't want to be weird about it. We're not going to have like a polar bear fight a lion, because that couldn't happen. But we will have a crocodile fight a lion and a bull shark fight a hippo, because technically that's possible. So the episodes that I believe you and I have watched all of them.
Yes.
The first, I apologize though, because the first clip I sent you was the most
You ruined my
harrowing
life.
version.
You ruined my day.
It was
my life.
A polar bear versus a walrus, and the CGI is terrible. But they're trying to like say, so here's how much each animal weighs, like how much they could bite, what are their weapons, like claws and the tusks of the walrus. And they're trying to be like, so a polar bear doesn't usually attack walrus.
Right.
Like it will if it has to, if it's really hungry, which makes it even sadder that this polar bear is starving, that it has to attack a walrus. But the polar bear is a strong swimmer, but not nearly as good as the walrus.
Right.
So that's the story. Is he's trying to bite the walrus's hide and can't quite penetrate it because it's really thick skin. For that reason, so that a walrus can't be eaten by a shark and stuff like that. That's why it's there. But the polar bear doesn't know that. The polar bear is a polar bear, so he's trying to bite through the skin and everything, and then the walrus kind of drags it into because he's got a hold of him by the claws and the teeth, but it's just blubber and skin, and so the walrus is like just with his little fins motoring toward the shoreline. And again, this is all rendered in the worst CGI you've ever seen, and I mean you gotta see it. Just YouTube Animal Face Off and watch one of those things. Jesus. But the walrus is able to pull the polar bear into the deep. And the polar bear is like, oh, I'm fucked. And so he lets go and gets up and puts his little forepaws up on top of the ice sheet to try and pull himself up. And the walrus was like, you done fucked up. You're not getting away that easy. And again, this is all their own script of how the fight would go. The walrus comes up from behind and like stabs the polar bear in the spine with both tusks, and the polar bear falls into the water and sinks slowly to the bottom of the Arctic Ocean. It's harrowing, and that was the first experience that you had with the show. I showed you the most awful one possible.
It was so sad. Like I said, I got very attached to like these. I'm looking at my notes, and there's just like it's just sad face after sad face, like just little photocopies.
I think it's so funny. Like perhaps I would be more attached to these things
if they looked remotely real.
If they didn't look like a 7-year-old drew them.
They don't look great.
No, like some of them look really, 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 really bad. Like nothing like what an animal looks like. Like for example, they did one that, and I'm going to go through all of these that we saw, and we'll point out the funny parts of them. But they did one which is alligator versus black bear. The CGI black bear looks like a fox of some kind.
It does.
Like it doesn't look like a bear at all.
No.
Like the head is shaped wrong. The color is all weird. Like it's a black bear and you made it like gray and striped with white. Is it a skunk bear? What the fuck are you doing?
I thought like I opened the wrong episode. That's how bad the CGI on that one was. But in this one, it was so sad because it was like the only reason these ones would fight would be if one was starving, and this was its only option, and possibly if there were kids involved. Like it got so dark so fast, and I was like, Alex, you ruined my life when you sent me this one as the initial one to watch. It made me so sad. I immediately watched it after we did our last show on BattleBots, I think, and I was in a great mood because I had fun recording the show with Alex, and then I clicked it. It might have been the next day. Real downer. Real sad. I got very hurt by what was happening with these pixels in front of me.
Yeah.
And I also didn't fully buy it.
Yeah.
Like this was definitely like the no DQ match of wrestling here. Like this was unsanctioned. I don't know. That was the other thing. I was just like, I want to know how these simulations. I get all the criteria that give you your UFC, like this is how strong the jaw is or whatever.
Right.
But like, not the fight doesn't go this way every single time. So like, what in your data made your simulator do this, or were you like, I suck at CGI and I can make these animals do these things?
This would be cool if.
Were they stoned creating it as you were stoned watching it?
Yeah. The thing of it is that they again, because they want to pretend like they're scientific, they say like we fed the hard data into our computers and this is what would happen if they fought. Like, well, listen, the computer you fed the data into might have been like a Commodore 64 because that's the shit that it spat out. It does not look good.
And what is the hard data? Like that's what I want to know.
Like,
well,
okay, so the alligator is 14 feet long and weighs so many pounds, and the black bear stands 6 feet high and has razor sharp claws, and
right,
but again, that doesn't actually mean anything, but they tell you it does,
right?
And I guess what
like
they could
if
say
one
is
of them is high on a rock, that whole thing could change. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's entirely it's entirely. Listen, like we'll get into this some of these things, but like some of these animals need to have a talk with the Booker man. Like this, we do a most of you here are familiar with our work on Fightful.com. We talk about professional wrestling, where it's a predetermined outcome. The matches are some of them are pretty well choreographed. This is predetermined. Somebody sat down and said, who would win in a fight between this animal and this animal? And they decided, I'm going to book this animal to win. And then they've worked backwards from there to figure out how that would happen. But some of these animals really have a complaint to make because some of them do not look good in the alligator. I'm sorry, alligator beats black bear. I've seen black bears. They're cuddly. They're of all the bears, they're the smallest. They're not vicious. They will run away more often than they will attack anybody because they know they're not doing it. So the alligator tries to fight the black bear, and the black bear gets on top of the alligator and tries to bite the shell or the hard stuff on the back. Doesn't work. But then the alligator retreats toward the water, which I guess is what you would do. And then the black bear is like, no, you're not doing that. Flips him over onto his back, exposes the soft underbelly, and then with one swipe of his paw, I guess disembowels the thing. Because it's like all it shows you is like nail marks, like scratch marks that somebody might leave. Like if you scratched yourself like this. Like, oh, I scratched myself. But that kills an adult male alligator. And I'm like, the alligator's got to say, listen, at least have the bear hit me with the finisher 2 times. Like, I mean, do something. Because you're burying me here.
It is a little bit of a protected finish, as we say in wrestling.
Yeah.
And it did kind of look like just something you saw like on Law & Order SVU. Like someone that got roughed up bad. Because they saw something they weren't supposed to see. Yeah. Like, that's kind of what the scratches looked like.
And we should also say, this looked like a very large badger and not a bear.
Badger.
It did not look like a bear at all.
None of them look like the animals, really.
No, like...
Very few.
Like, a couple of them look... Like, the shark, it's hard to screw up a shark. It is. It's hard to...
It is.
Like, that's fine. But some of the more intricate ones, like anything with fur... The
fur and 4 legs, they did not succeed at.
They did not look good. Fur and 4 legs.
It was bad.
Not a lot. Bad. Not a lot of success there. Was there any that you watched where you were like, oh, that's it. That's a good fight. That's a really good fight. I like that one.
I don't think so, honestly.
I will tell you the one that I thought that I liked the most, because I thought they actually did a good job of telling the story, and there was a fatal flaw that one of the things had that led to its demise. There was the saltwater crocodile versus a great white shark.
Yeah, this one was good.
From those, for those of you who don't know, saltwater crocodiles are a thing. They can live on, they swim in salt water. They live in Australia, which is of course also where great white sharks live, and so it's possible
that
you might have them
encounter
each other. I don't know how often this might happen, but it's possible. Saltwater crocodiles are the biggest friggin' reptiles on the planet. They're immense. Like if you see like a regular alligator next to a saltwater crocodile, you'd think it was like somebody hit the alligator with like an enlargeo ray. Like it's just huge. I remember being fascinated by saltwater crocodiles as a kid, being like, that's not possible. Why is that thing so big? And
I don't think like I knew that going into this either, too, because I was just like, well, shark has got to have it, like clean away, like for sure. But this was a much better fight.
Yeah. Both of them can be like 20 feet in length. The shark is 3 times the weight, which I did not realize how much heavier they would be for being the same length. But the way they started it out with is the shark bumps the like probing to see if you're food, because sharks don't have the great eyesight. You see, they don't know if a crocodile is food or not, so they bump the crocodile. The crocodile gets pissed, like, what's your problem, pal? And tries to bite at the shark. Shark gets away. Goes back and makes a wide turn. They charge each other. This is the thing I love. I mean, honestly, it's stroke of genius to do this. Saltwater crocodile grabs a hold of one of the fins, the pectoral fins, the little things that stick out the side of the shark. Grabs a hold of it in its jaws, and then does a death roll and rips the damn fin completely off the shark. And the narrator goes, the shark is wounded, but unbowed. I was like, no. That motherfucker got an arm torn off. Like he's wounded. No. It's just a flesh wound. No, seriously.
Just like
that shark got fucked up. And then they do another pass. At this time, the saltwater crocodile's mouth, I guess, is so much longer that it's able to like wrap its entire jaw around the upper face of the great white. And then it goes into a death roll again and just starts spinning the great white. But the great white is so much heavier that it's dragging the croc down. And the croc, because the croc is a croc, you see, and not a fish, has to breathe air. So the croc's like, if I don't let go of this guy, I'm gonna drown.
I'm gonna die.
So he swims for the surface. What a comeback story! What a comeback story, Kay. Because I thought the great white was down for the count, but like it's the old thing in the wrestling where like the camera focuses on the guy standing in the front, and then you see the other guy stand up behind him, and you're like, oh no, he's still alive. And as he's swimming up to the surface, the croc has exposed its soft underbelly, and the great white swims up from underneath and just clamps down on the underbelly, and that's all she wrote. Goodbye, croc. The great white has won. But I mean, mortally wounded. Let's be honest. Like, I don't know how much you can do as a croc with one fin. But geez, as a great white with one fin. But like, if you're taking me out, I'm taking you with me, you son of a bitch. That was a good match. That was a good fight.
Yeah, this felt like more of a double count out, truly. But because like even just figuring he would bleed out, right? Like that's
Big
what
time Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus energy in this one.
Well, they would have faced each other 25 times before or something.
Right.
Yes, I was a little suspicious of this all around, but this one was the most logical, probably. Like, we're going to talk about the gorilla situation later, and that a stretch. But for several reasons.
Yeah.
And a stunning upset.
Oh, yeah.
This one have everything you wanted, a great CGI animal fight. But I did feel like if your fin is demolished in that way, like, are you actually going to be able to even swim up?
I guess the tail does most of that thing, and the fins like move it side to side. But the tail is what gets you going, propelling you forward. And that's the whole thing. Is like that great white is done. Like it can't maneuver. It won't be able to hunt.
But he's got a last meal.
But he decides, like, no, you screwed me over. Now I'm going to take you out.
Prepare to die.
Yeah, exactly.
And
hello,
shame on...
my name is Great Sharko Montoya. You took my finno. Prepare to die.
And shame on the croc because he didn't finish the job.
No, he should have. He should have stayed with it. That's the whole thing. That's the story. Yep. But there are a bunch more that aren't nearly as compelling. Like there's the lion. Those on that. No, I won't do that one.
So the one we just talked about, I think I watched last.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, where were you before?
The wolf versus the cougar.
Yeah.
Which was just like some of these are over quick, like too quick. Like the wolf is sitting there eating, and the cougar decides, I want your meat that you're eating. And so the wolf gets in a bite on the cougar's like left hind leg or something. And the cougar backs off, but apparently it's something you learn if you watch the whole episode. Wolves will never back away from a fight. They'll keep coming. So maybe he might have been okay, but he decided, I'm going to come, and he lunges for the cougar, gets on top, and the cougar's on his back. And the cougar uses the claws on its back legs to basically
scrape
them to death, because they don't show a lot of blood in this show. I guess they don't know how to CGI blood. But like I think the point was that like was able to use the back claws to like disembowel this wolf.
Blood and guts.
And the cougar says, I'm just gonna go ahead and sit here and eat this wolf. And then here's the thing, you hear oh, and everyone came to, like, the wolves, the whole pack has showed up to avenge the death of their fallen brother. And then they totally they cheated me out of this, Kate. Because that's a fantastic end of the story of the cougar looking up, seeing that he's surrounded by wolves, and like, yes, you killed the wolf, but you're done. But then they say, the narrator says, the cougar was scared away by these other wolves. Like, no, scared away. That cougar got what he deserved, because that cougar decided he was going to mess with the first wolf. You don't do that. That's the thing about wolves. They travel in packs.
It's true. But cougars are also real fast.
Yeah. I just like the idea of the
heel getting his comeuppance.
Of having surrounded him in, like, but
encircled, and he's got nowhere to go.
Yeah.
But also, if I was the wolf that just died, I would have been like, where were you like 10 minutes ago? As my little wolf soul was floating up to heaven, I would have been like, a little late, guys.
Mm-hmm. The wolf, like, tapping his wrist.
Yeah.
What's up? What's up, fellas? So I already did. We did the black bear versus the alligator, which was funny. I feel like there's one missing that I don't know who it fought, but I feel like there was a grizzly bear episode, and I don't remember who it was, what the grizzly bear was, what they fought, but we didn't. I didn't actually see it. It's not there. It's not in the YouTube files. But I feel like there was an episode that a lost episode. The rhinoceros versus the elephant episode was
yes.
They're just, a bull elephant, bull rhino don't like each other.
Big meaty men slapping meat.
Yeah, that's sirloin beef sons of bitches division.
Right. Like Tom Lawler.
Yeah. And the rhino charging at the elephant, who like sidesteps it a little bit, which I feel like that's not a thing you could do if you're an elephant, but apparently they said no. They fed the data into the computer.
When it's the data, man. You can't argue with the data.
It's the hard data. And so then the rhino keeps trying to get underneath the elephant, like trying to get his tusk up into the throat of the elephant. The elephant says, "No, not doing that." And I like that they did this thing where like the elephant gets one tusk up underneath the back leg of the rhino and spins it away and leaves it broadside, ready to be T-boned by these tusks. And this is the other thing, Kate. I don't know, the hard data must have said that elephants are really vicious because it impales the rhino with both tusks and then backs away. And the rhino, it just stands there like, oh, this doesn't feel so good. And then the elephant stabs it again and backs away. The rhino's like not going down, but you can tell the rhino's dead.
Yeah.
But then the elephant stabs it a third time with both tusks and pushes it over. And one of the tusks breaks off inside the rhino. And then the elephant puts both of its forelegs on top of the rhino and squeezes the life out of the rhino. And I'm just like, pick the fight with the wrong. The elephant basically said, "I'm the wrong one."
Yeah,
son, I'm the
Which
wrong
is funny because if you are like me and a white girl who is on Instagram looking at elephants, they come across as so nice. They apparently look at people like we look at dogs, which is my favorite elephant fun fact. Like they're like, "Oh, those little humans are so cute."
So cute.
And like you see little pictures of them getting watered down. They seem so happy. This was the side of the elephant that I did not know. But I also feel like they did a good job of being like, look, rhinos, it takes a lot to take them down. But vicious little elephant.
I feel like listen, if you're gonna you hit the guy, this is what it is. This again, because we're doing an episode about animal fights. Okay, there's gonna be a lot of wrestling tropes that we are gonna pick up on.
And that's a lot of wrestling crossover.
This is the elephant hitting its finisher on the rhino and refusing to pin him.
Yes.
Picks him back up, hits another finisher on the rhino. Is that it? No. I'm going to do it one more time. Hits a super mega finisher on him. And then doesn't actually really pin him. Puts his feet on the chest of the guy to pin him. That's disrespectful. That's disrespectful, Kate. That's what that elephant was.
It's true. This was the blow off. This is what that felt like.
Yeah, this you're not gonna get another one of these. No, there ain't gonna be no rematch. We're not doing that.
we didn't talk about when you were talking about close fights. Lion versus tiger, straight up.
Right. Lion versus tiger. I was upset by because it was so fast. Like I feel like that one would have lasted
Yes.
a long time. But
And
the
it
problem
felt
is
real because they both share habitats.
Well,
ish. Like it feels like they could cross paths at some point.
They definitely were every time they showed they would show like stock footage of a lion in this little thing, like, hey, the lion is so big and it has the jaws and has the claws and everything. When then they showed a stock footage of a lion, it was always an African lion. And I don't know if you know this, but there are lions in India, but they're very, very rare. They were hunted near extinction. And they are much smaller than their African brothers, cousins. And like an Asiatic lion is much smaller than the big guys in Africa. And so the size advantage they kept talking about that a lion would have over a tiger is non-existent because they're basically the same size as a tiger when they're in the Indian subcontinent. This was the one that actually, as far as like, would these two ever actually meet in the wild? The answer is friggin' no. Like, just not. This is not a thing that would happen. But I understand why they were like, oh, well, sometimes there are lions in India. Like, they're like, we have
but
to
it's
do
not this lion.
We have to do this one, guys. We have to do lion versus tiger.
Yeah.
It's the whole reason the show exists.
Lions, tigers, and bears on my
right,
like
exactly.
It's a whole thing.
Like, yeah, we should have a triple threat match. Where's the bear? Get the bear involved. Triple threat match.
The oh my match.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
They again, sometimes these little CGI things are set in an interesting locale. And for some reason they decided to set this one in like an ancient Hindu temple that's all like fallen into disrepair, and there's all these like vines growing everywhere. I don't know why they couldn't just be in the jungle. They had to like do it like
it was
in
an
a
abandoned
match.
zoo in my brain.
Like
they went back to the site of where they first met. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna settle it there.
It did feel like also like this is the version of a cage match.
Yes.
Like we're entirely enclosed. The lion sprints at the tiger, and gets like thrown off immediately. And then they fight. They do the thing where they just do the paw thing, like a cat trying to get at something, and the other one does it back, and they do that for a while. And that's kind of like their version of a rest hold. Like, just, okay, we get it. You don't need to put a guy in a cravat for 5 minutes. We get it.
Oh, I thought this was them chopping each other back and forth.
Oh, that might have been it. Might have been a little bit better because but they weren't. Nobody's making contact. It's just like they're just waving at each other.
No machine gun chops.
No, nothing like that. The lion. They booked the lion to win. Which is better because the next time they book a lion, they did not do right by that lion. But 50-50 booking, man.
That's
like have the lion win one match versus the tiger, and then you feel like you can book the lion.
Moving up the card.
Yep, he's building momentum.
That's right.
And then they book him to get jobbed out to a crocodile in the next episode. And like, well, where's all this momentum yet? You know what it makes the tiger look even weaker. To be honest,
it does. They don't know how to build new stars.
They have no idea how to build new stars. I
feel like normally we try to skirt around a ton of wrestling references. Not tonight, though. Not tonight. One.
Sorry, everybody.
This one.
Sorry, everybody. I forget how the it's like a throat bite or something. Like he's able to get the tiger over on his back and get a throat bite, and that's it.
Like it felt a little anticlimactic, to be honest.
It was. It was like, I mean, you got the two big cats. You do something with it. Make like where's the drama?
No creative offense in this.
No.
It was a lot of swatting, and then he basically just flipped him over, and the swatting and bit his neck.
Yeah.
And walked off all proud.
Yeah, I'm a
lion. We know.
We get it.
We get it, lion. I felt like there wasn't like nobody really had an advantage. It was like they just kept going up against each other.
Right. Now this brings us to the lion's next opponent, a crocodile. And I mean, this is where the lion's gotta sit there. When the lion gets the match laid out for him, the lion's got to say, "That doesn't work for me, brother." Like, we're not doing that. Because the lion gets in all the offense to start against this crocodile. They're on land fighting each other. And the lion thinks he's won because he's got in all the offense.
Of course he did.
He's getting his shit in. He's biting. He's clawing. All this stuff. And the crocodile runs out of the ring. The crocodile is taking a count out loss. I don't know why you would do that if you're the crocodile.
I don't know either.
Doesn't make any sense to me. But apparently it makes pretty good sense to the lion, who decides to walk up next to the edge of the water and stand there for no reason. And then the croc leaps out of the water and kills the lion, which makes the lion look really stupid.
It does.
And it
felt like a roll up.
But it wasn't even just that. It was like, you're so easily distracted and like you have to stand. You know what it is? It's the lion is being booked to just stand there and wait for the guy's finisher.
Yeah.
There's a wrestler that Kate and I talk about.
Just for talking
Tuesdays.
About, yeah.
His finishing maneuver requires that he gets out of the ring and walks several steps away from the ring, just so that he can run toward the ring, dive in between the ropes, do a somersault, pop up, and hit a guy with his little finisher, little jawbreaker. It's asinine because it requires his opponent to just stand there and wait for him to do all of this stuff to him. Never did I think that a crocodile would have a kind of finisher like that. It's very weak on the croc's part to be able to have to win matches with that particular finisher. That's bulletproof. Nobody kicks out of the croc's finisher.
So protected.
It's so protected. It's just a little ridiculous.
It makes me respect Grayson Waller. I feel like maybe this was more inspired than we gave him credit for.
Perhaps.
That guy has definitely gotten stoned and watched the show before, so.
Mm-hmm.
But it is, and I just like, I don't know, what is this? Your first time in the animal kingdom?
Yeah.
Oh, let me go to the crocodile where the water is.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's basically
the
him.
The crocodile ran
up.
away, and you're like going to follow him. Like, it's like, I know. I mean,
he should have been selling like Shawn Michaels and Hogan.
Right.
Like, he was clearly not happy with this booking.
This is not good. Not good at all. This is like, hey, we shot Michael Myers in the chest with a shotgun, but he walked into that old chainsaw factory. Let's follow him in there, see what happens. It's a bad idea. Don't do that. It is a bad idea. Don't follow it. You wounded him. Let him go in there and bleed out. You don't need to follow him in there. That's a dumb thing. He's got all kinds of chainsaws in there.
Yeah.
Just a bad idea.
So then the lion requested his release from the show.
You know who should have? The bull shark.
Oh, buddy.
The bull shark had to fight a hippo, and this was a mismatch from the beginning.
It was.
This is a size mismatch, because you have a bull shark. This is one of those deals where they're like, hey, well, bull sharks live in Africa and they can swim up rivers, so maybe a bull shark would fight a hippo. And somebody's like, yeah, but what would happen if that happened? Well, a hippo weighs like 4 tons and a bull shark, the biggest one ever, is 700 pounds. So the hippo just sits on the bull shark, right? And that's it. Like that's it's a really easy. Yes, that would be. Why are we doing an episode like this? Like I feel really bad for the bull shark because the bull shark could have gone up against somebody it might have had a chance against, like bull shark versus a cheetah or something. But no, the bull shark's got to pick a fight with a hippo, and the bull shark's got to look at the booker and be like, why am I picking a fight with this guy? He's 12 times my size. Well, you know, you got little man syndrome. You're a hothead. You're one of those, you know.
He's Butch from.
That's what he is. That's what he is.
Butch.
He's Butch.
And the hippo is Gunther.
Yeah. All these
This
references completely lost on the 3% of our viewers who do not watch wrestling.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but this is animal fights.
Yeah.
So.
The
But you know the story of the scrappy guy who's he has too much heart and not enough brains, right? Like that's what we're getting at here. This guy thinks he can take on anyone, not the smartest, but he thinks he can do it. And then there's the guy who's a million times his size and just squashes him into the ground.
What I just love is they have a hippo standing in hippo depth water, and the bull shark swims up and tries to bite its butt. And that was his whole plan.
That was
his whole plan. Is I'm gonna bite his butt. Look how big he is. I'm gonna bite his butt and I'm gonna win. It's a bad plan.
Bad call.
He tries biting his butt like 3 or 4 times, and then the hippo turns around and that's the end of the fight because the hippo just bites the shark's head. Done. Dunzo. That's the end of it. Like because a hippo, for those of you who don't know, I don't know why you wouldn't know this. I mean, hungry hippos is a thing, but the hippo can like completely open its jaw, like super,
like a snake can,
wide.
But it's a freaking hippo.
Yeah. It's a hippo, and the hippo's an adult male hippo is gigantic. It's the size of a friggin' VW bus, and just like opens its jaw as wide as it can. And oh look, a shark happened to swim inside of it. Might as well swallow that whole thing whole. Now this is the other thing is that I don't know. This is one of those ones that I remember watching the full episode, and they would go like, "All right, tonight, bull shark versus hippo," and I go, "Hippo,
duh,
hippo." Like, why am I watching the rest of this? Hippo. But I sat there and watched it because I had nothing better to do. But like some of these, lion versus tiger, I don't know. Honestly, wolf versus cougar, you could convince me either way.
Lion versus tiger. I had my inclinations, but
absolutely. Saltwater croc versus great white shark. You never know. Black bear versus alligator. Alligator. Obviously freaking alligator. But no, swerve, the black bear won. Because here's the thing.
You need the upset.
You need the upset, but also at the end of it, they have the narrator. The narrator's like, but the black bear gets his claws in, and later, gator. So what you did, you had a cutesy line that you wanted the narrator to be able to say. You wanted the narrator to be able to say, later, gator. And you booked the whole thing around that one cutesy line. That's not how you do things, people. That's not professional.
No.
Let's figure out how to do this.
No.
Now, the one that still remains my absolute favorite is the one that is the swerve.
Swerve, bro.
Swerve, bro. It's gorilla versus a leopard. Now, this is a one that like you watch it and you go, I don't know what that is supposed to be, but it is not a gorilla. Like that is like of all the CGI. Like that doesn't even look like, I don't know.
It doesn't look like an animal.
It doesn't look like anything. Like I don't know what that is.
And this was after Donkey Kong, so you
Like
think they would have been able?
like how many King Kong movies have there been made? Like people know how to make a gorilla look like a gorilla. I promise you. I promise you, somebody out there in 2004, a graphic design person who works on special effects in movies and TV,
Dude, I'm pretty sure like a
was
college intern would have been able to nail this.
but like watching this would have been like, who did you get to do this? All of these episodes are bad. I'm telling you, all these episodes, none of that looks right. The lion doesn't look like a lion. The cougar is like weirdly dead-eyed. The like I said, the black bear looks like a badger.
Yeah,
but like
it's really bad.
The gorilla
looks like a blob.
I don't know what this is supposed to be, but it's not. They do a great job of showing you actual stock film of all of these animals, so you know what they look like, and then they show you here our computers did this model. Like, I don't know what this is, but the gorilla is out. They say the gorilla has left his family in the trees and going to find a place to sleep. Sleep in the trees with your family. I don't know what like, did you get banished to the basement to sleep on the futon? Did you piss off the wife? I've been there. But then the leopard has left its cubs in a den. So now both a gorilla and a leopard will fight to the death to protect their young ones. It's like, okay, there you go, fine. Now they say it's dark outside. And I was like, well, it may be in the story that you've written, but you have animated it to be broad daylight. Now, I understand, because I would hate to think what they would actually be able to concoct to make this gorilla show up at anything resembling low light. It would just be like a shapeless blob of black fur ? Like moving around. So they had to animate it in broad daylight, but they kept saying like the leopard has night vision, which is how it's able to sneak up on the gorilla. And I'm like, okay, fine. The leopard,
it was pretty much a shapeless blob as was. Like, it wasn't great.
yes. The leopard. I love that this is true, because gorillas will make themselves look way bigger than they are to fend off bigger predators. Because gorillas don't eat meat usually. They eat a lot of berries, like if they forage, and they eat a lot of like shoots, roots, and stuff. But if they come across something like a lion, they would beat their chest to make sure someone would leave. So they try and do that with a leopard. The leopard, because its young are nearby, won't scare off. So they have to actually have the fight. And the leopard jumps on the back of the gorilla, tries to take a neck bite, because that's what the leopards like to do. They'll bite the back of your neck and crush the spinal cord, and then you're done. They try to do that to the gorilla. I don't know why, but the gorilla can't. They can't do that. Maybe the gorilla's been working out. The gorilla's yoked, so it's got those trapezius muscles. Can't quite get to the spinal cord. The gorilla was able to throw the leopard off. And then the leopard charges the gorilla. It leaps in for the kill. And the gorilla brings down its massive right arm right across the spine of the leopard. And there is a sound effect that they put in there. And just the slow motion of the leopard bending the wrong way as its spine shatters into a trillion pieces. And I was like, oh, secret karate chop move. I did not know the gorilla had that in him. But damn. And the gorilla beats the leopard by, and this is also to make it all the more sad, is that there are some cubs sitting in that den who are like, Mommy, are you okay? And the leopard at best that leopard is paralyzed. So, but
yeah.
that not walking around anymore.
No, that guy, if not dead, was a sitting duck to be dead real soon in front of his children.
Yeah, sad. But yeah, I did not have that being the way that would go.
No, and I didn't know gorilla had teeth either, like that.
Oh yeah, big old.
There was like a nasty bite in that. Yeah.
The gorilla was able to bite the leopard in there somewhere. But the gorillas they got some big old sharp teeth. But they don't really use them or anything except for like scaring. They'll bare their teeth when they're fighting each other or something. But they don't usually eat meat, but they can. But I just thought that was my favorite because I was a primate freak when I was a little kid. Like I loved reading about chimpanzees and gorillas and all this kind of stuff when I was real little. So I was very hopeful when I first saw it that the gorilla would win, but I didn't think there was a chance because I mean, like it's a leopard, like their whole thing is leaping down from the trees onto things, like just biting their spinal cord and that's it. Like I didn't figure out that the gorilla isn't a natural predator. Like it doesn't actually have the instinct of killing other things all the time. So I thought it was like it would put up a fight, but it would ultimately lose. I was very excited that they booked the gorilla to win.
Please tell me more about young primate freak Alex.
I was like, I don't know, 6, 7. I still thought it was a possibility. My parents were going to buy me a chimpanzee for every birthday and Christmas. Like that was
precious.
That was my first. Every time there was like, okay, make out a list so we can give it to grandma and grandpa for what you want for your birthday. Number 1, baby chimpanzee. Every year, every Christmas, I want a baby chimpanzee. Now I know later in life that baby chimpanzees grow up to be fully grown chimpanzees and they will eat your frigging face off.
Right.
So I know it was a wrong thing for me to want that, but I still I wanted that because
I don't think it was wrong for you to want it. I think it was responsible of your parents and your grandparents not to indulge you in that. I would say it was
responsible of my parents not to go on the black market and purchase me a baby chimpanzee.
I think it was a wise call on their part. I was into the more. I really wanted a horse for a while because I would horseback ride.
Because you were a horse girl.
I was a horse girl. My grandmother's friend owned horses, and we would go up there like regularly and get to like take care of them and ride. So really,
that's how they get you. That's how they get you. It's always grandma's friend who owns the horse, and daddy, I want a pony. There you go.
Not so much great for like our side yard. Didn't have like acreage in our neighborhood.
I'll feed him carrots every day, I promise.
Of course, and sugar cubes. It'll be great. And like wanted a dog and stuff, of course. But my like weirdo one, which would die immediately on the show against any real predator. I loved otters. I still do. But otters, I did like I think like a science project on it, and then I needed an otter, which was like in my head it was like, well, we have a pool in the backyard, an above ground oval shaped pool. Felt like a very reasonable habitat. Also the bathtub. But wisely, my parents also did not grab me an otter. Would not have fared well on the show at all. Would not have.
No. They can be really vicious to other otters, but I don't.
But like a saltwater crocodile, the otter is not going to go well.
No.
Sad.
Not going to turn out well for the otter.
No.
But yeah, no, I was a.
You wanted a baby chimp.
I wanted a baby chimp. I mean, I wanted a menagerie of different primates. Like I wanted spider monkeys, I wanted orangutans, I wanted my like if you asked 6 or 7 year old Alex, what are you going to be when you grow up? I would say I'm going to own a primate sanctuary, and they're all gonna be my friends. I had names picked out for all of them. I don't remember what they were, but I remember I had names picked out for all of them.
Oh, it kills me that you don't remember what they are.
I believe one of the orangutans was going to be named Sam. I don't know why that is in my head, but it was Sam the orangutan. I don't know why.
I was really big into Alexandria as a pet name for kids when I was a kid, which was weird. That had to have come from somewhere. That's such a specific name.
Somewhere. Yeah, I remember like that I was gonna carve out some land somewhere.
Of course.
And I was gonna have a primate sanctuary, and people were going to come and see the primates, and that was going to be what I did with my life. And I don't know, between 7 and 8 something changed. I don't know what it was.
It all went wrong.
Yeah, it's like, no, I don't feel like this is probably going to be my life anymore. That has been Walk Down Memory Lane with Alex and Kate.
And walk like hunched over down memory lane, a little bit straighter down memory lane.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, those are all the episodes that are available. I would say that the show it was so of its era. So many people that I have mentioned this to were like, oh yeah, I remember that show. That show was awesome. And a lot of people, a lot of the YouTube comments on these videos are like, I love that show when I was a kid. I did not remember it having the worst CGI ever.
And like you said, there were millions of views on these.
Oh yeah.
Millions.
Yeah. I do not know what Animal Planet was pulling down on ratings on the original airings of these things. But over the course of like a dozen years of these clips being on YouTube, they've pulled in 5.5 million views. So something's done right. But I think a lot of people are watching it because of how bad the CGI is.
I think so too. I think it was very wise of them to pare down the episodes to just the fights.
Yes.
I think that helps it go a little bit viral.
I wanted to find one that was
just full format.
A full format, so I could like talk more about it. But I remember it enough to be able to like give you the gist of it. But honestly, that's not the reason anybody was watching these.
No. Nobody wanted to actually.
All you wanted to do was watch the fight.
This kind of feels like this was to Animal Planet as Ancient Aliens was to the History Channel.
Perhaps. Yes.
Like there was some entertainment.
Yeah. No, they're
factor.
Not.
Like yeah, this hard data situation.
No, nobody is tuning in to watch, this show about rescue dogs in Kentucky or whatever.
No.
Let's get some real viewers in here.
Jazz it up.
Let's have a bull shark bite a hippo in the ass. Let's do that.
Yeah.
That's gonna get the people to tune in.
Drive the ratings up.
Get the clicker out. Figure it out. This is also
Lion versus Tiger.
Lion versus Tiger would definitely. I think that's got to be Sweeps Week.
Yes.
You got to save that one for Sweeps Week because you got to make sure you get the Nielsen ratings up. But what I'm saying is, this was everybody had cable or satellite and 100 channels, but there was no such thing as Netflix or anything like that. Nothing was on demand. You just had to friggin' watch it. Yeah. So there were everything was available. There were all these different channels. You could watch all these channels, but you couldn't watch anything whenever you wanted to. It had to be on TV at the time you tuned in. So I don't know what other networks were running on that particular Saturday when they showed me all these episodes back to back. I do know whatever it was not nearly as compelling to me at that time as terrible CGI animals fighting to the death.
I don't know what's more compelling than that right now.
Right. Yeah. This is the other thing is I don't know. I'm honestly torn. I was thinking about this. If Animal Planet decided to reboot this shit with an actual budget for CGI, would it be compelling enough to like get an audience? Because I think there's a podcast that I used to listen to where they would bring on an animal guy every so often, and they would take questions from the audience, and the questions were always, "Who would win in a fight, a blank or a blank?" That's going to be a thing people are always going to want to know. So I say, give it to them, and don't this time if you're gonna reboot it, Animal Planet. This is one for free. You can go ahead and do this. I'm not going to sue you. You should have do it so it's not geographically bound.
Yeah.
Show me a polar bear fighting a lion.
Yes.
I want to see it. There's the polar bears are not going to come up against a big cat of that size anywhere in their actual natural habitat.
Show me what the hard data would say.
Show me the hard data. Plug in the hard data, hopefully to something more updated than an iMac.
Did we even get like gator versus croc?
No.
I can't remember.
No, and that really wouldn't be a fair fight because gators are smaller than crocs. It just wouldn't. It's just like
look at Alex over here with all the hard data.
I'm just saying. Listen, it's true, but I think there's other things you could do. Like, hey, the walrus we've established can easily take out a polar bear. Not a problem. How would that walrus fare against a saltwater crocodile? Like, probably the saltwater that a crocodile is used to would be a lot warmer than the saltwater that a walrus is used to, but at least they're both water animals.
It's true.
And they both need to breathe air. So one of them's got to come up for air than the other one's got to, it's more of a fair fight is all I'm saying.
I'm also interested in really boring ones of just like an angelfish. You know what I mean? Like, give me something, and not even animals that like just the most passive. Like, I try to think, like just like a garden snake, just ruin the whole show.
What if it was like a cow versus like a really big squirrel? Like, is that anything? I don't know.
The CGI is just them looking at each other.
I don't know. Like
butterfly versus moth.
Yeah, man, that's a clash. That's a clash, man.
The moth just finds a light and
yep. Yeah, there you go. The butterfly's like, that's his weakness. I'm gonna put a light over there and have him fly toward that light.
They just fly away.
I just love the idea of find some boring ones and great.
You gotta throw some stinkers in there to escalate the excitement for the real.
That's true. Yeah. Anyway,
flower versus aloe vera plant.
Now the thing about it is that the biggest weakness, I think, of this show is also somehow its biggest strength. The biggest weakness of the show is the terrible CGI.
Right. But if you look at all the comments on YouTube.
Right. If the CGI was better, not great, but better, like just decent. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, the CGI is a 1. It is awful.
Get it to a 4.5.
If the CGI was a 5, would anybody care? If the CGI was a 10, an 8, 9, or a 10, it might be compelling to watch. If the CGI was just like, all right, would anybody care at all? Nobody is watching the version of this that's on Animal Planet's YouTube channel right now. If the CGI isn't the worst they've ever seen. That's what's getting all the views right now, is people tuning in to see the train wreck.
Teachers who teach this saying, don't do this.
Yes.
I think it's got to be one or the other. I think it needs to be like almost AR, like where you feel like you're in the water with the animals, or you're like in the land, or it has to stay basically this bad. Like it cannot go above a 3 and it cannot go below an 8.
No,
it's got to be either end.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Well, Alex, we end the show like we always do.
Yeah, we do. Do
you get the flick out of here?
This is a tough one for me because I have, sometimes something is so bad, it's not necessarily good, but it is something you have to recommend somebody to see.
Right.
The CGI for the gorilla, for the black bear,
furry 4 legs.
Furry and 4 legs. Anything furry with 4 legs. The CGI is so bad, you have to see it. You will not believe it is. It's not possible for it to be this bad. So I recommend everyone to watch it, because every one of these things we're talking about, the clip is 3 to 5 minutes.
Yes,
that's it. It's not much at all. It's easy to watch. I would say find them on YouTube. They're not hard. Search Animal Face Off. They're all there. They're really easy to find. I recommend everyone watch them because they are so bad. Especially, that is it's a difficult thing to say, get the flick out of here, when I'm saying you got to see this.
Right.
But honestly, it's terrible.
I don't smoke weed, so I don't feel like I have the opinion that matters most. But I will say, keep the flick if it stays in the format of like just the edited version. If you're going to try and educate me beforehand, get the flick out of here. But this version of it, where it's just the simulated fights, so in learning before watching this, no thank you, not for me. Please do not educate me in the process.
Don't try to draw me in with your science. I'm just here to see the animals fight.
I can Wikipedia some fun facts if I want to know them.
Yeah, there you go.
Give me the fight.
There you go. So anyway, that's that, and that's it. Next week, not revealing anything. We have a special that we're going to be doing for 4th of July week. That should be a lot of fun for everybody. So we'll be doing that. It's our second holiday episode. And we'll be back for that. But Kate, other than that, where can they find you?
Oh my gosh, all over Fightful on Tuesdays and Fridays, talking wrestling. So if you want to understand the references of what we said today, you can head over there, as well as the Mark Order podcast on Wednesdays. But you can also find me on Katestagrams on Instagram, and I'm Miss Kate Fabe on other stuff.
You can find me on the Twitter at Alex Sourgraps. Doing all the same things that we always do. And yeah, this has been a fun couple of months. We'll keep on doing it because why not?
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So we appreciate you guys tuning in and hanging out with us every week. It is a fun time talking about random stuff. Honestly, I did not think when we started this out that I was going to go ahead and do a episode about Animal Face Off, but I'm really glad we did. Here we are. And next week, like this week, we'll be back to tell you whether or not you should get the flick out of here. Bye, everybody. Have a safe week.
RESPECT. Click the subscribe button and find out what it means to me. Nah, that doesn't have a ring to it. But if you like videos about real news stories that are funny, stupid, or weird, subscribe now.